Welcome everybody to our Hoshana Raba Shiur. Pardon. Tonight we will be talking about various topics. But before we do, we have to talk about the importance of the night. Rabbeinu Ha'ari in Shar Kavanot writes that today, from Yom Kippur until Rosh Hashanah, none of the decrees that were decided from Yom Kippur until Hoshana Raba, none of the decrees that were decided on Rosh Hashanah were imparted yet. After Hoshana Raba, a second seal is stamped, and whatever was decided on Rosh Hashanah and sealed for the first time in Yom Kippur starts to come into fruition. The Gemara brings down that decrees can be rescinded. When Hashem makes a decree, it could be rescinded. How? When the Jews were at the time of Achashverosh, they all went to the party of Achashverosh. And the Sar of Amalek came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he said to Hashem Yitbarach, they went to the party, they should be Chayav Mitah Chas V'Shalom. And Hashem Yitbarach said, yes, you're correct. And he wrote the decree down, and Eliyahu Hanavi heard about it. He went back to see what was going on. And he said that Hashem said, I'm sorry, the decree is already written, I can't change anything. Eliyahu went to the Avot HaKadoshim, Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and he said, if the decree was written in clay, it could be rescinded. If it was written in blood, it cannot be rescinded. Explain the Chachamim, decrees written in clay, decrees written in blood. What is it? Do you think there's blood or clay up there? There's some kind of substance that Hashem writes decrees with. Ela, it's a mashal to the chotam, to the seal of Hashem. Clay represents just one seal. Hashem gave the okay, but he didn't give the okay. He just agreed with the psak. He didn't say carry it out yet. But when it's written in blood, it's a sign that the chotam has to be, the gezerah has to be sent out. So tonight is the night a person could change all of the decrees that were decided. I remember last year, literally in the morning when we're gonna be to not tomorrow morning, but in 2 days, that's when the whole massacre happened. With it was on Simchat Torah. Yeah, that night we were dancing. They were dancing the day before. For them it was Simchas Torah. For us it was Shemini Atzeret. Right? So imagine if we would have just tried a little bit more. Kadosh Baruch Hu to sweeten the judgment, maybe another person would have been saved. I was seeing a story. You guys don't follow it too much, but my wife is Israeli, so she loves seeing all those Israeli stuff. So one of the channels over there, they have this special. My wife saw about how they were interviewing on the day of the massacre. So about 4,000 terrorists came inside Israel. 4,000, and they're all spread out. You have to hunt them down one by one. And they're going house to house. Whatever they can break in, they're putting on fire. There was one house in Yishuv Be'eri. That's one of the hardest hit Yishuvim towns. There was a pregnant woman in 42nd week, something like that. Like she was about a pop. Her mother-in-law, older woman, her husband, and her father-in-law. All inside the mamad. Mamad is the safe house. And they were holding the door locked. They have to hold it up for about 12 hours straight. And the terrorists already put the fire inside and the whole place was smoking. They said there was only two choices. Either open up the window, try to jump out, they're going to shoot them. Or the second choice was to be burnt to death. And there were people that were burnt. They stayed, they got burnt. Srefa they got. Hashem yinkom edamam. So there was a store. So at the same time, there were two brothers in Carmiel. You know Carmiel is all the way up in the north.
Other side.
The other side of Israel. One of the brothers saw what was happening. The army still didn't know what was flying yet. He called his other brother up and he said, let's go over there, start saving people. He's like, are you crazy? One is like 40, one is 45. He said, we're out of the game already for a long time. He said, listen, either you come with me or either I go alone. He said, I'm going to go with you. Like this, they went and they saved hundreds of people from the house. Went from house to house. Anybody there? Well, the south of Israel is known to be chiloni, like people who don't believe in Hashem. Like, we're talking about straight kibbutznikim. And, but still the Nitzotza Yehudi was there, and the guy was giving the interview. He says most people wouldn't come out of the house until they said, tell us something that you're Jewish. And they wouldn't go. He said, we're Tzahal, we're the army, and we're this, and they wouldn't come out. We're gonna be burnt here, we're not coming out. Anything but to go to Gaza. Until they didn't say Shema Yisrael, they wouldn't come out. And they saved, these two brothers, they saved this pregnant woman, and her mother-in-law, and her father-in-law, and her husband. They saved them. And she went to give birth right after. Wow. Right away. They saved them. They saved over 1,000 people that day, these two brothers. And look how Hashem runs the world. It was already late at night, and the terrorists are still running free. They're still running free. And already the army was involved, whatever, but still. And the older brother tells the younger brother, he says, listen, let's go for one more round. Maybe there's somebody still stuck in there. He's like, come on, it's already late already. It's already this, it's already that. I'm 2 days we're running around like this. I want to go home already. He's like, Chai, one more round. Chai, okay, one more. And he said, we didn't sleep for 2 days. We're over here crying. Where is our bed? They didn't sleep for 2 days. Their adrenaline was pumping. The younger brother wanted to go home already. Forget his name. It's a famous story. The older brother said, let's go one more. He was the one who started everything. And they were already trained for combat, so they know the way. First one goes in and the other one covers. They go into the house. They said, last house, that's it. Last house. They already went to hundreds of houses. Last house, they open the door. The older brother gets shot, gets killed on the spot. On the spot. The younger brother is a religious guy. Look at this. The religious Jews from Carmiel who went to save the lives of kibbutznikim in the south. That's what we call true ahavat chinam. You know, and I was saying to you guys before the shiur, Hashem didn't do even one drop of rain these 7 days. Not Florida, not New York, not Eretz Israel. Nowhere had rain. And it's because in Sukkot. And you know, rain on Sukkot is a bad sign. It's a sign that Hashem says, I don't want your chasadim. Last year was raining on the first day. Forget about rain. Huh? It stopped, we ate, and then it started again. It was back and forth, but it was ugly. It was it kind of already like showed, you know, like something is not right, you know? And, but this year was phenomenal, you know? For the first time in my life, I was zocheh to sleep in a sukkah for 7 days. Well, tonight we don't sleep. I was zocheh to sleep every single night inside the sukkah. Even though the first night was very cold. We got the sleeping bags, we didn't complain, we did the mitzvah ketikuna. It's a very big zechut. Every second you're in a mitzvah, you're in the sukkah, you're in Mekai mitzvah aseh ma'atorah. All right, I think there are some shuls in Borough Park, right? They turned the whole shul into a sukkah. No, you ever heard of that? I heard in Williamsburg they do it. Satmar maybe, you know? They had like this huge 50-foot sukkah. Like something crazy, something big. You ever heard of that? There's big sukkah. I know for sure Nahar Shalom in Israel, they turned their shul their Beit Midrash into a whole sukkah. They take out the planks, they make a sukkah. To be in a sukkah for 7 days straight. That's the mitzvah. Not to leave even for 1 second. Ovadia Yosef though writes in Chazon Ovadia that even though it's a mitzvah to be in a sukkah, however, it's a bigger mitzvah to pray in a shul. That's what he writes. He disagrees with the whole notion of you gotta daven in the sukkah, he disagrees with it. He said, yeah, you daven in the sukkah if you have a minyan, but even if you have a minyan in the sukkah, It's still a higher level to go to shul. The shul has a kedusha to it that a sukkah does not have. Even though sukkah is kadosh for 7 days, you can't. You know, huh?
Can make the sukkah for shul.
But still, it's not a real shul. It doesn't have a kedushat beit HaKnesset. You said it's still not kedushat beit HaKnesset. It's aray. A shul is something you designate as makom tefillah. It's makom kavua. But the kedusha of beit HaKnesset is very high, right? But kedusha of sukkah is also high. You know, you can't bring in your sukkah. I was very makpid. You can ask my son over here. When there was an empty bottle in the sukkah, an empty bottle, I said, get it out of the sukkah. You can't have an empty bottle inside your sukkah. You can't have dirty dishes inside your sukkah. You can't bring a pot into your sukkah.
So how about to eat?
You understand? It depends. Would you do it if there were guests over there?
Yeah, we had guests. While the guests were there.
It depends. How would you act if there was guests over there? If when you would have guests, you would bring the pot to the table and serve directly from the pot like Temanis. Then
We had Yair Schnitzel, so...
whatever the case is, we don't need to know the exact whatever it was. But if you're makpid, when guests come, you take out the nice china, you take out the nice stuff, and you saw nobody was there. That means, what does that mean? You don't believe that the ushpizin is there. If you believed that the ushpizin was there, you would have acted bekavod inside the sukkah. You would have acted yirat shamayim inside the sukkah. Sukkah, you're not allowed to speak ideal chatter. You're not allowed to speak divrei nevela, divrei chol. You have to speak kedusha inside the sukkah. And the sukkah is kadosh elyon, right? I always say it, if a person has a zechut to see what's going inside his sukkah, he wouldn't leave the sukkah even for 1 second. If you had the zechut, I was always thinking to myself, since I never was mekayim the mitzvah to sleep in the sukkah, but I was really patur because I didn't have my own sukkah. I'm really patur, right? What are all those people are gonna say that they have their own sukkah and they don't sleep inside the sukkah as the halacha says you have to do? So what do they say? Suddenly they become Ashkenazim for 7 days. The Rama writes, Lo yeshenim in the sukkah. Or they become Chabadnikim, they become Chabatskers. There's Makifin, the Ima. You can't sleep inside the sukkah. Suddenly they care there's a Makif from Ima, from the Bina coming down. Like they even know what that is. And they can't sleep inside the sukkah. A person has Yirat Shamayim. He doesn't always look for kulot in life. We're in a new year, guys. The Yanuka, the rabbi, you know the Yanuka, right? Sometimes my brother speaks about him. He writes, "What's the Kabbalah you take upon yourself for the new year?" Oh, I take upon myself to wear tzitzit every day. I take upon myself to read correctly. The main Kabbalah is to understand that I want to change. If you have that, if you still think that you're the best, if you still think that there's nothing wrong with you, everything is perfect, I'm fine, everybody else has to change. Okay, I can add tzitzit to my life, I get it. Then you're in you can have a rude awakening. If not now, then in 120 years. Today, I said that our shiur should be Lu Nishmat, my old principal. He was really a tzaddik, this guy. I know, me personally speaking, I knew him that he was a person who took a lot of beef. And with his own 2 hands, he built the 3 yeshivas in Queens. 2 in Long Island and 1 in Queens by Mordechai Kashani. He passed away yesterday. Mordechai ben Shamsi. May the shiur be nishmato. And he passed away. He was 70 years old. Right away, I said his age. Somebody over here blurted out, "Oh, so young." David HaMelech says, "Im yemei shnotenu b'hem 70 shana." A person passes away 70 years old. That's his life span. Im b'gvurot. If he has zechut 80. Today, if you don't reach 80, you're young. But to die at 70 is young. Really, 70 is young. You know why 70 is young? Not because it's young, it's a number. 70 is young if a person is a tzaddik. Tzaddikim are not supposed to die. Tzaddikim are supposed to live forever. Why does tzaddikim die? For those couple of small, for example, the small averot, but the Gemara says, when we stood at Har Sinai, all the zohama of the nachash, all the klipa of the snake left us. Why do we die? If the klipa of the snake left us, why do we die? Because we got it back by the Egel HaZahav. The Gemara says, question, what about Yehoshua bin Nun? What about Moshe Rabbeinu? They weren't in the Egel HaZahav. Why do they have to die? Why do they have Zohamat HaNachash?
We're in the same boat, no?
Huh?
We're all in the same boat.
We're all in the same one, but they didn't do the Egel HaZahav. They don't have. Did they lose their Zohama? Yes or no? Or they were still living in that high of Har Sinai. What are you saying? Says the Zohar HaKadosh. Even though they lost their Zohamat HaNachash, they lost the poison. Once Adam sinned from the Etz Hadat, once he sinned from the Etz Hadat, every human being in this world must die. No matter you were in Har Sinai, you weren't in Har Sinai, you sinned in your life, the second he sinned, you must die. Has to be. How about if you were a person that wasn't in the sin of Adam HaRishon?
Still.
But you weren't in the sin. Yosef HaTzadik.
He still died.
He still died. Why did he die?
Earlier than everybody.
Yosef HaTzadik had a lot to answer for. He didn't need Shalom Aleichem. Yosef HaTzadik didn't need to die because of Zohamat HaNachash. Yosef HaTzadik died. He had fought with his brothers. He had kina'ah. He had the issue with the Zer Levatala with his master's wife. He had enough to answer for over there. That means there's no such a kind of thing that a person doesn't have some Zohama inside of it. Now what happens when a person dies? Everything okay?
That's good. There's like a Wi-Fi problem. It's like a button.
What happened when a person dies? Depending on how much Zohama you have left, you can't be accepted into the Beit Din until that Zohama leaves you. So what do the angels do? Something called Chibut HaKever. They take you and they break your neshama, guys. They break your neshama until that klipa, that Zohama is separated from you. Separated from you. It's called Chibut HaKever. But look at this, guys. If the guy dies on a Friday and he's buried before Shabbat, the Kiddush, not Patur, he's not Patur. He's still going to answer for his Averot. But the Kedusha of Shabbat is so strong. Shabbat didn't even come in yet.
Nullifies it.
Just the Ha'arat Shabbat. The rays of the Shabbat. The rays of the Shabbat. The rays. How do you say rays?
Luchi. And one Luchi.
Luchi. The Luchi of the Shabbat is so strong that the guy doesn't need Chibut HaKever. It separates automatically. Zechut. The question is only if you get buried in Eretz Yisrael or also in Chutz La'aretz. Machloket Rabbanim. Those who love Chutz La'aretz will say also Chutz La'aretz. The Ari didn't differentiate. Those who say Eretz Yisrael, they have a Svara Yeshara. Because the Gemara says anybody who lives in Chutz La'aretz is like a person she'en lo Eloka. It's like he doesn't have a God. Why is that, guys? What do you mean we don't have a God? No, also in Israel they don't have a Beit HaMikdash. Over there it's worse. They're praying to the back of the Beit HaMikdash. They're praying to the back. When we daven, we davening to the front, huh?
Holier side than
It
here.
says holier side, but what's worse? When the Gemara, the Torah has a story. Remember the story with Avshalom, how he killed his brother because he was with his sister? The whole weird story that went on over there, right? Avshalom was the son of a princess that was caught in the war, and his mother got pregnant before she converted, and she had a baby. The baby was called Tamar. Then she had a son called Avshalom, very beautiful boy, a Nazir. And the Torah says there was no beautiful person in all of Israel like Avshalom. Handsome, nice, sympathicisni, tall, yafeh, Nazir. And his sister was also very beautiful, just like him. And his older brother, Amnon, fell in love with her, fell in lust with her, really. And Amnon got so in lust with her, with his half-sister, that he got sick. Tav, Shamol Chorda.
Infatuated.
He got heart sick. His lachatz dam went up. Oh, with all due respect, even though he sinned very greatly, but these were biblical figures. But yes, you could say his lachatz dam went up. And he had a very bad friend called Yonadav. They say a bad friend. So he says, make believe that you're so sick you can't get out of bed, and tell your father that I want latkes. And I want one of my sisters to make it for me in front of me. Your father, you're the older boy, you're the oldest boy, you're the bechor. Your father is not going to say no to you.
Especially when you're sick.
You're mifunak. And this friend of his, Yonadav, is his cousin. It's all in the family over there. Karochi, Tamar comes in. He closes the door. And because of that chimney, the Beit Din of David HaMelech came up with a halakha. Because of that. A boy and a girl, even if they're Jewish, cannot be alone in a room together.
Is they related? Like siblings?
Of course, no, siblings are allowed. And certain, siblings are allowed. Brother and sisters, yes. But cousins, obviously stepsisters. So you're allowed. A person is allowed to marry his stepsister. By Tamar, she was his half-sister. But she also technically wasn't related to him. Because she wasn't, she had to convert from beginning, yeah. So what happened was, Avshalom, as revenge, kills Amnon. He kills Amnon. His own brother, he kills him. Imagine what kind of chilul Hashem, people think they have family problems. Talk about family problems. The older brother does shtiyot with his half-sister, based on advice from a cousin. And his other brother kills him. Where does Avshalom go? To add insult to injury, where does he run away to? To his maternal grandfather's house. A Goyish king. That's where he runs away to. A year or two he was over there. Doesn't come back home. His father already, grevon he made. I don't want to see this kid's face. Kills his brother, this, that. But every boy is homesick. He feels bad. He wants to go home. So he convinces his uncle, Yoav, the Sai Tzara, to convince his father to let him come back home. David says, Yavo. Let him come. Upanai. My after Simon. Lo yirao. Don't see my face. Yeah. Avshalom comes home, and David says, I don't want him coming to my house. Avshalom gets so upset, he tells Yoav, his uncle, who orchestrated all this. He said, what was the point of me even coming back home? If I can't see my own father, it was better that I would have stayed outside. Why am I bringing this story up? People live in Eretz Yisrael today. They have a big zechut. But yet they're facing the back. They don't see the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They don't see the face. And what does the pasuk say? Velo yirau panai rekam. You're not allowed to come to me empty-handed. You're not allowed to come to me to see my face. In Shalosh Regalim, you can't come to me empty. If Hashem wanted the Beit HaMikdash to be built, it would have been built long time ago. Hashem doesn't build the Beit HaMikdash because we're not ready. So why will Hashem do it eventually? One reason only. Because He wants to do it for Himself. He will want to do it for Lema'an Shemo. What's Lema'an Shemo?
His name.
And because of His name.
But if it's not ready, what's the point then? Even with His name, if it's not ready. People not ready.
Be ready.
How? I was going to be there.
So that's why Gogo Magog is going to come for.
Chodesh
Chodesh, you're going to be ready.
By force, basically.
Yeah.
You're gonna be ready.
Not by force. It's not force.
Have your scissors ready.
Just have your scissors ready. If you need to make some money in the middle of Gogo Magog. we have a Masoret, Gugumog is supposed to happen now. That's our Masoret. Tradition. And Hoshana Raba, the last day. So the question is, what is going to happen to all the Jews?
Which Masoret?
Huh? From Rav Sadia go on. So it says, oh, so you guys have a Masoret?
I'll take anything.
I take anything. So it says, what happened to the Jews? What about us? What about what's going to happen to us? Gogomog is going to happen. So it says, Ki yitzpeneni b'sukkot. What do we read in chapter 27? Ki yitzpeneni b'sukkot, Hashem says. I will hide you in my sukkah.
Wow.
Anyone who keeps the mitzvah of sukkah,
You're Gucci.
you're safe from Milchemet Gog Magog. More than this you want?
We still have to
Well, now you know why the Chabadnikim, they on their trucks. They make those sukkot on the thing. I once saw something crazier on a scooter. He did it. I don't know how they did it. People have a hard time building their snap-on sukkahs. These guys are making sukkahs on scooters and on the back of trucks. But you know why they do it? Because they have Yirat Shamayim.
A lot of it.
They have a lot of Yirat Shamayim. You know where Yirat Shamayim comes from, guys? Doesn't come from what's the easy way out. What's the leniency? What's the loophole? Till today, I can't get over this guy. Calls me up before in the middle of Sukkot. He tells me, find me a leniency to shave on Sukkot.
What shave? Shave?
Shave! Shave on Sukkot. I said, what do you mean leniency? Did you come out of jail? No. Did you come from Medinat Hayam? No. From far overseas? No. Did your Avelut end in Sukkot? No.
That also?
If the 30 days ends in Sukkot, and the Go'arim boy, yeah, he's allowed to shave in Sukkot. You're not allowed to do it, Asur. There was a Noda Yehuda, but everybody disagrees with him. The Noda Yehuda says, if you know a Jewish barber that's so poor that he needs money just to support him, you're allowed to take a shave from him. All the rabbis went ballistic on him, and they canceled it out. This leniency. A Jewish person shouldn't look for leniencies. How long are you going to look for leniencies for? All your life? Don't you want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? My wife tells me it was the first day of Sukkot. It was freezing. You guys remember the first day of Sukkot this year? It was ice.
Especially
so she said, "How you gonna?" Especially my Sukkot, it's in the back.
It's open.
And it's open. It's in the back. There's no sun. Barely any sun over there. How you gonna sleep in the Sukkah? I said, "What do you mean? How am I gonna sleep in the Sukkah?" Hashem owed me a house? No. Hashem owed me a family? No. Hashem owed me a nice balcony? No. Hashem owed me that he should send me Uzbeks to build me a sukkah and beautiful. No, Hashem doesn't owe me this. He gave it to me. I have to fulfill his mitzvah. Huh? First year. Yeah, and this is the first. That's the chidush. Hashem gave it to me. I have to do it. I'm looking to do the mitzvah. I'm looking for the chumrah. Today I had a guest in my sukkah. Out of nowhere.
Mr. Raccoon?
No.
Fly up over there.
Yeah. David HaMelech, that's not unexpected. That I expect him to come. No, a certain rabbi popped up into my sukkah. Not my father. No, the chief likes his own sukkah. The chief likes to be a chief in his own sukkah. When he's in my sukkah, he has too many chiefs. Too many chiefs. He likes to be a chief in his place. So this rabbi comes to the sukkah. Okay, we're sitting, eating. So the women over there are trying to make shashlik, burning all the food. And so he sits down. I want to start my tikkun. But I have a guest now. I have to make conversation. So I said, hi, he knows halachot. Let's talk halachot. So I start to ask him halacha, here, there. And we get to a situation. Can you use a garlic crusher on Yom Tov? Garlic crusher.
Good question.
Shreezy?
Garlic crusher, yeah. The garlic crusher is specifically made. Let's say you take...
It's a tool.
It's a tool that's made to crush garlic, right? You're allowed to make food on Yom Tov. You're allowed to prepare food for Yom Tov. That's mutar. The question is, do you have to do it b'shinui or not? You have to do it in a different way. So, for example, if I want to make Israeli salad on Yom Tov, 100% allowed to take a knife, and even to make it like, those Israeli salad where it's like it's thin, Yom Tov mutar.
Short.
Yeah. The question is, can I use what was that thing you sent me?
A mandolin.
Mandolin. Isn't a mandolin an instrument?
That too.
That too, okay, so I got confused. Hey, can you use an instrument specifically made to make it dag dag dag? It's a special kind of, it's not a grater, but it's the
Same idea.
same idea. It's for the salad, right? So we're talking, and he's like, well, listen, he said, all these things are mutar.
What's the rationale?
I said, what? So the halacha is, you are allowed, the Shulchan Aruch says on Yom Tov, you are allowed to use a tool specifically made for preparing these things on condition that it takes out the real taste of the food. If I would use a different tool, it wouldn't have the same
Right, it does make it
Taste.
better taste.
It doesn't have the same taste. So, for example, peppers. Let's say real peppers,
Spice.
right? If I don't have the pepper crusher, and I take I don't know, something else, a back of a spoon, and I just start crushing, it's not the same.
Right.
That's allowed. There was no mandolin in the time of the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch talks about pepper crushers, right? But the Shulchan Aruch gives you a rule. Anything that it's for the ta'am,
Enhances the taste.
that enhances, it makes the real taste come out. That if you would do it a different way, it wouldn't taste the
True,
same.
right.
You're allowed to use it, even a
Tool.
tool that was specifically made for it.
So like a crusher.
So,
Garlic
crusher. How about a garlic crusher and
Yeah.
stuff like that? So we were discussing. I was disagreeing with him in certain cases, agreeing with him in certain cases, but we did agree to disagree in certain situations. But just like sometimes the idea when you speak to some rabbis and like the first thing that they jump to, everything is mutar. You know what I mean? I don't like that way of thinking. You understand what I'm saying? Once somebody told me, he's like, oh, the Ben Ish Chai says you have to do like this. Or Ovadia says you have to do like this. Okay, when I die, maximum, I'll call Rav Ovadia and I'll tell him in my court case, no, you said this is mutar. You explain and I'll,
Expedite it.
I'll expedite, I'll let go free. Hey, what is for you, a joke? When I want, I follow this rabbi. When I want, I follow that rabbi. I follow Rav Ovadia, but when it comes to riding bikes on Shabbat, I follow the Ben Ish Chai. I follow this, then when I do, I follow it. It doesn't work like that. Is it? A person has to have yirat shamayim. You need to have yirat shamayim. You need to grow in yirat shamayim. For example, I'm going to read you a story right from the Gemara. For me, this story gives me shivers. But for example, right now, we're gonna Hoshana Raba is gonna be. It's Hoshana Raba right now, but the real Hoshana Raba, the real idea is to yell out to God. That's the whole idea. Hoshana Raba means Hoshana, right? To yell out to Hashem. We're gonna circle 7 times the end. Hoshana, we're gonna yell, right? We're not gonna say Shoshana, that's for sure. Hoshana. The secret to everybody yells whenever he wants to yell, huh? What's the secret behind Hosh? What's the secret behind Hoshana? What's the middle 2 letters of the word Hoshana? What's the middle 2 letters? Hosh, shin, a is an ayin, shin ayin. Remember I taught you guys that there's something called shin ayin nahori, the 370 lights.
Yes.
Right? When did I teach you guys that kavanah? Connected to which bracha? Sim shalom. Right? Baruch atah Hashem hamevarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. Bashalom is going to be how much? Shin ayin chet, 378. You split the 370 and the 8. You take God's name El, Aleph Lamed, Aleph Lamed. If you take Aleph Lamed, Aleph Lamed, it's going to be exactly 370. That corresponds to the Panim of Hashem. The Panim of Hashem. That's why we say in that blessing, Hashem bless us be'or panecha. Panecha we say, because we bring down the or from the Panim, Aleph Lamed, Aleph Lamed. And that's Shin Ayin Nehorim. And through that Shin Ayin Nehorim, we get, what did we say in that blessing? Chayim, Shalom, Bracha, Atzlacha, and all these kind of things. So you have to connect to the Shin Ayin Nehorim all the time. One of the biggest kavanot that we have always is to bring the shefa from the panim of Arich Anpin down to Ze'er Anpin, and from Ze'er Anpin to the Shekhinah, to the Malchut Kadisha. And how do we do that? Through certain mitzvot. So one mitzvah, for example, that we bring down the Shin Ayin Nehorim, we do it every by Sfaradim. We have a zechut. We can have it at least once a day, sometimes even twice a day. Birkat Kohanim. Through Birkat Kohanim, we get the power from the panim of Arich Anpin. All right. That's why we say Ya'er Hashem Panav Elecha. Panav. It's that Aleph Lamed, Aleph Lam. You always want to connect to that Aleph Lamed, Aleph Lamed, right? And that's why it ends with Hamivarech. The Gemara said, the Birkat Kohanim, V'yasem Lecha Shalom. Because Shalom is 376. 6. If you take Aleph Lamed, it's 370 the Gematria. And how many letters are in Aleph Lamed? 6. 376. So you're getting the Shefa through that. And the Gemara says, nothing holds bracha like Shalom.
Peace.
Like peace. Right? We were raised to think the opposite. Yeah, when a person bothers you, you have to fight with him, show him that you're right, get your way, and then you show that you're the winner. The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says you have to make yourself like a midbar, seek peace. You know the second temple wasn't supposed to burn. We could have had peace with the Romans. But there was some biryonim, you know biryonim?
Heroes.
Some heroes. They decided to be heroes, and they thought with a couple of knives, sikarim, they're going to take on the whole Roman Empire. The Chachamim said, guys, are you stupid? Seek peace. Peace. There were two generals, One was called Yochanan from Gush Chalav. One was called Shimon Giora. He was a ger. This Shimon Giora made a lot of bayot for us. But interesting, when the Romans caught both of them, Yochanan of Gush Chalav, the Romans had a tradition. They would capture the general or the king of the army that they're fighting. They wouldn't kill him. They would make a whole ceremony out of it. They used to take him down through the streets of Rome, execute him publicly. It was a whole big thing. In the Roman history, they killed Shimon Giora. Yochanan of Gush Chalav, they don't kill. Why is that? Because Yochanan was the general of the rabbis, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. And he told Yochanan, make peace with them. Tzom Gedalia. You know Tzom Gedalia?
Yes.
Why was Gedalia chosen to be the governor of Judea? Nebuchadnezzar was worse than the Romans, by the way. Because Gedalia ben Achikam was the first one to make peace with Nebuchadnezzar. To make peace with him. That peace that he made with him gave him the ability to be... Now, sometimes you have too much peace. So when Yishmael ben Netanyahu came to kill him, he didn't want to believe the Lashon Hara. He invited him into his house. That's already too much. Don't take it that far. But you need to have peace. The Gemara calls peace the vessel for bracha. That's why we say Shalom Bayit. What's Shalom Bayit? You want a house? You need to have peace. You need harmony in the house. You need to have Shalom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo matza kli mahzik bracha ela Shalom. Peace. Why? Because peace is Shin Ayin Norim. So why do we say Hoshana? To bring... Now, how many times are we going to say it today? Kakoi 7. Like 50 times we're going to say it. Hoshana. A lot of times we're going to say it. A lot of times. Huh? A lot. And every time you say Hoshana, guys, you have to have kavanah to the Shin Ayin Nehorim. Those 370 lights that come from the panim of Arich Anpin. Ours is very long, by the way. We read it fast, but it's very long. Already in the middle of the Hoshana, this one over there is playing swords with some guy over there. This guy over there, he's like this, and one guy is drooling. But I think Baruch Hashem this year, everybody's going to be with a lot of powers. Why? It looks like everybody they went to take a small intermission. Yeah. The Gemara says a story. Rav Anan. There was a Rav in time of the Gemara called Rav Anan. Aitel elahu gavra kanta de gildene di begile. A certain man brought Rav Anan a basket of small gildana fish that live among the reeds. What's gildana fish, guys? Certain kind of expensive fish.
Sazan.
No, it's it lives among the reeds. It writes over here. From the river of Begile. Anyways, it was an expensive fish, and it was the first time he caught it. So Rav Anan asked him, Amarle, my aviyatich, what is your business here? Amarle, dina itli, I have a lawsuit coming up. And Rav Anan was a dayan. La kabil mine. He said, I can't take your gildana fish. Guys, in October 7, people were not sleeping for days. We have a deen.
They were partying.
They were, I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the guys who went to save their lives. Amar le, he said, Pasin nalach ledina. Why are you coming to me to give me the fish, and you tell me I have a lawsuit? Well, you want me to judge your case? Pasil nalach.
Bribery.
You're bribing me. Amar le, dina demor lo ba'ina. I'm not looking for you to be my judge. Kabulen likabel more. Please take my basket of the fish. Dela limnaan more makure bikurim, because I actually bringing this fish as a bikurim offering to you. There's no bikurim though. Bikurim, first of all, is only the 7 fruits, right? And it's only in Eretz Yisrael. He was definitely not in Eretz Yisrael. And third of all, there's no Beit HaMikdash. How you bringing bikurim? So he says, the pasuk says, by Elisha Hanavi. And there was a man that came from Shalisha, and he brought to the man of God lechem bikurim and 20 lechem seorim of barley, ve'karmel betziklono, and Carmel. Now here's the big question. He brought to Elisha bikurim. Was Elisha a Kohen? No. But the pasuk says he brought him bikurim. It was worth it to come here to hear this chidush. At 120, you're going to say this chidush in Shamayim. You're going to say this chidush in Shamayim. This is the chidush that you learned in the year 5785 in Hoshana Raba with one eye closed and one eye open. Was Elisha eating bikurim? He was. What shevet was Elisha from? Jewish trivia. Huh? What shevet was he? He was definitely not a Levi. Reuven? Like his Bechor? No, not Reuven. But close. Who lived next to Reuven? Gad. He was from Shevet Gad. Gadaev, yeah. So Elisha definitely wasn't a Kohen. So what's he doing giving him Bikurim, Gabriel? Somebody was paying attention in Gemara class. Good morning. Lomar lecha, Gabriel Chai. Anyone who brings a bikurim to a Talmid Chacham, any gift to a Talmid Chacham, it is as if he brought bikurim in the time of the Beit HaMikdash. Now you can see it. Amar le, oh, Rav Anan said, Kabule, I will accept it now. Lo ba'ina lega, I didn't want to. But hashta, now that you mention it, I'll take it. Mekablina. The Gemara says, I'm not going to know the story continues. Rabbi Zeira, the Gemara says, there was a rabbi called Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana. He lived very long. He was the first Kabbalist to ever put something on paper. Where?
Talking that his grave?
No, not him. That wasn't him. Not him. And they asked him, why did you live a long life? Because I never accepted gifts from anybody. So the Gemara then says, once he said that, all the people
Stop getting used.
stopped taking gifts. The tzaddikim.
Boring life.
No gifts. We want to live a long life. Boring but long.
Soneh matanot.
So like this. Soneh matanot. Rabbi Zera took the gifts. Look at it. You definitely would have continued taking the gifts, that's for sure.
He got from all.
He got everybody's gift. Rabbi Zera said, how come you taking? Don't you believe Soneh matanot? Yeah? He said, I'm Soneh matanot. But I'm still taking the gifts. Why? When I take the gifts from them, I'm doing them the favor. Look at the mind of a yid.
That's all right.
He said, I'm sure that's what you were thinking. He said, when I give a gift, when I take the gift, I'm doing them the favor. Really, I don't need their gifts. But when they give me the gift, they feel good that they gave it to me. So I'm doing them a favor. You understand? So too Rav Anan. Rav Anan really didn't want to take the gift. But once he heard the svara behind it's bikurim, and there is a pasuk that seems to imply that, you could do this mitzvah even today. Today there's no mitzvah of bikurim, but let's say you have, for example, you grew in your backyard some nice fruits, vegetables, whatever, or you went catching fish, right? Or you found some very nice vitamins, right? And you saw it, and you say, I want to do a mitzvah of bikurim right now. You put it in the basket. You go to a Talmid Chacham. I'm not joking. Rav Eliyahu Mani writes this in his book. Rav Eliyahu Mani. You know who Eliyahu Mani was? The Ben Ish Chai saw Rav Eliyahu Mani. He was like this.
Yeah, with the money.
No, Tzaddik. This one over here, I think he thinks he's dreaming right now. No. This is different Rav Eliyahu Mani. This is Rabbi Eliyahu Saliman Mani. It's the Ben Ish Chai's Rebbe. And he said, that's a different Rav Eliyahu Mani. And he said, like this, even though there's many mitzvot, you can't keep them today, you still have to have Yirat Shamayim, guys, Yirat Shamayim. See, you guys are here right now, even if I find you guys right now, go to the side and fall asleep, in my book, you get a check of Yirat Shamayim. In my book, you get a check of Yirat Shamayim. In my book, you get a check. Not that I have a book, but if I had a book, you would be in there with the check. Because this means a lot to me. It's not like you guys learn Shar Kavanot, you know the meaning of the night. Even though you heard it many times, you heard this, that. It goes from one ear, comes out the other. But you broke your... See, look at these two kids over here. This, to me, future Yirat Shamayim. This one over here is future Yirat Shamayim. Yeah, this one is still awake. Yeah. You know, this is called future Yirat Shamayim. There's hope for Am Yisrael. There's hope. This is the hope. Right? But the people who just... The night comes, the first thing he does, he has to calm his sense. He comes up with an excuse. First thing, I have work tomorrow. That's his first excuse. Then he comes up with a second excuse. Shacharit, I have to pray with Kavanah. Then he comes up with a third, whatever he comes, any excuse that he wants, he comes up with. Right? Shalom Bayit. Yeah. Babe, is it a mikvah night tonight? I didn't get it. Yeah, for you maybe it's a mikvah night. Hey, make up here. This is called already a Yirat Shamayim. It's flaky. It's a mezainis. It's flaky. Mashu masreach. Mashu lo tov over there. We gotta look at you. You gotta do some major. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur wasn't enough. For example, we're gonna finish with a story in a second. It's a beautiful story. This year, like tomorrow morning, let's say we're all gonna sleep a little bit, 2-3 hours after Hoshana Raba, after the Hoshanot. We're gonna go home, sleep a little bit. Those guys who do Shnayim Mikra V'Achat Targum, we have to finish it in the morning, right? Yeah, you have to finish it today. Zota Beracha.
We can't finish it on
How all week you have? You have Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah. That's it. Simchat Torah. You're finished with the Torah.
We can't finish it on
The mitzvah is you could. Of course you could. You could do whatever you want.
Can't finish it after.
You can't finish it out. It's already Bereshit, right? You have to finish it today, this morning. Huh? Shabbat is already Bereshit. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha'uretz. Bereshit, that means Chag is gonna come out, and we're gonna go straight into the Sabbath. And guess which Sabbath this is? Shabbat Bereshit. Shabbat Zachor, he's telling me. Abraham, give him a cup of coffee, please. Shabbat Bereshit. How am I gonna say? Shnayim Mikra V'achad Targum. I just finished Zota Baracha, Rabbi. And now Bereshit is a very big parasha. Very big. How am I gonna say? How many days I have? Aka. You're already doing the mitzvah. You already did it. You finished last year. That's it. You gotta be past the stage already. Do it bizrizu. Do it yeah, give me sugar, give me milk, give me coffee. Do it you know, I was reading this book yesterday. It's called Kvar Hayu Dvarim Ma'olam. There were already these things that existed. Basically weird stuff that happened in Judaism. Did I tell you guys that there are devices nowadays, electronic devices that could pick up souls?
Yeah.
Souls. There's nishamot. It shows the souls on it. You go with this thing to a cemetery, it's gonna be like souls running around.
Yeah, Tesla.
Tesla's one of them, by the way.
It's not only like a hearing.
I don't know if I didn't hear about that one yet.
It's a sense.
Guys,
Hearing also.
these things, they exist. They exist.
How's that possible?
What do you mean how is that possible? It's frequency, that's it. All it is frequency.
So
All these things is frequency. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, Kvar Dvarim Ma'olam. Do you know Shlomo HaMelech? In his time, he made a glass cup that was able to fold into layers,
Origami style.
like origami, but glass. It was called white glass. White glass, and when he wanted, he would open it up. It was one of the wonders of the world. And the reason why we break glass under the chuppah, you know why? To remember Yerushalayim, because there was one rabbi. His name was Rav Ashe. He had one of these glasses left. Rav Ashi from the Gemara. Yishar Koach.
You're talking about your brother, right?
It's 3 a.m.
תהיה בריא אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו.
You're on a roll today.
Hoshana. Rav Ashe from the Gemara, he was throwing a wedding for his son. Wedding. And the rabbi saw that he was a bit too, he saw the rabbis in the wedding were a bit too happy. Ayin hara. Ayin hara is not good. Not good, guys. The older you get, the more you see it. Don't be loud in your life. Don't be flashy. When you're younger, you have 9 lives. So you lose 1 or 2, it's okay. But when a person gets older, you start to be very careful.
Susceptible.
You see it. You see the effect. So Rav Ashe was throwing away and the rabbis were too happy. To make them lose their happiness, he had that last cup, and I don't know how he did it, he was able to shatter it. And the whole crowd went silent. They lost their simcha. Glass used to be something very expensive. You hear what I'm telling you guys? It's crystal. Crystal is still very expensive?
Yeah.
A little bit. So the Gemara says, when we break the glass under the chuppah, we were supposed to feel like something expensive went away. Like when you have something, let's say you're in a wedding and you lose your gold watch. How are you gonna feel? Even if it's your kid's wedding, But he had that nice. How much was that watch on him? 100,000. Imagine you lose $100,000 watch in your own kid's wedding. You married off your kid. How much thank you to be to Hashem? But let's say you lost your watch. How bad you gonna feel? Oh. I remember at my engagement in Miami. I got engaged in Miami. My wife's grandfather lost a ring that he had in the wedding, in the engagement party. It was like one of those old Russian rings.
Rose gold.
Yeah, it wasn't real. I don't even know it was real gold. And he lost. Oh, how he threw a fit! My ring, 50 years, man, my ring. You just saw your granddaughter get engaged. Why do you have those feelings? That's the teva of the Ben Adam. Whenever something of his personally got lost, and lo menucha. That's why a person loves his stuff so much. Anything you earned, you love it so much. Even if a person will offer you two of the same thing and say, give me that one of yours, the Gemara says you will not do it. Because your one maneh to you is worth 100 of his manehs. Because your maneh is, let's say, a certain kind of possession. Tzaddikim earn all their money. That's why Yaakov Avinu, even for some Kadim, you have 1,000 camels, 100 sheep. You have Rechelim, Avadim, Shfachot, 12 sons. For 4 jars, you're going back? Okay, so the rabbi said, it was the oil jugs of the menorah.
No jars left.
Whatever it was jugs. Even if it was jugs of oil.
No jars left.
And Satan attacked him with this time.
Yeah. It's the greatest story in the Torah. You know that? If you really think about it, it's a phenomenal story. The man goes back for a couple of jugs in the middle of the night. You ever been upstate in the middle of the night? Not somewhere you want to be. Pitch dark. No raccoons are going to attack you over there. Wolves will attack you.
Mountain lions.
Yeah, of course.
Malachim.
Malachim, Shedim, Refaim, not Shedim. Refaim are going to attack you over there. Person, these kind of woods, the Baal Shem Tov used to do. Could you imagine doing Hitbodedut in those woods? Upstate New York? Middle of the night? Neshama is going to come out of it. The woods, yeah, I remember that story. And one time, one guy went with him and he blessed him with long life. Yeah. So, what was I saying? So, when a person loses his possessions, he feels very bad. Because you earn it. Yaakov Avinu went to get those kemach in the middle. He's passing Ma'avar Yabok. Good morning, how you feeling? Good? He went to pass Ma'avar Yabok. Who does he meet over there? Now, he doesn't meet Shedim. He doesn't meet Refaim. He meets the Nachash. And he wrestles the Nachash all night. You know what it means to wrestle a Nachash all night?
Snake, the serpent.
The snake, the primordial snake.
The one Adam and Chava?
Yeah.
That's
The
still
Samech Mem himself.
He's mad.
roaming around?
Bichvodo Batzma. He's still roaming around, by the way. He's very much weakened after his lackey, Sinwar, who had his head blown up. He's very much weakened now. Do you know, I have a theory. Hear me out, guys. Well, how come Hashem is blessing us such a beautiful Sukkot and, you know, all of Am Yisrael have such a good feeling? You know, when I asked my rabbi, Rav Chen, I said to him, I saw him this past year in Israel. I said, "No, Rebbe, Mashiach is coming. Should he move to Israel?" I don't want to swear. If he would have told me yes, I would have done it. He's a very calculated human being. He's not like one of those, yeah, move, do it. He said, oh, savlanut. So we get to a conversation, and we get to the conversation of what happened on Simchas Torah, the massacre of Simchas Torah. And I tell him, how come Hashem allowed such a thing to happen? Like, is there any kind of svara, like some kind of logic? And he said, yeah. He said, Eretz Yisrael is not like any other Eretz. Eretz Yisrael has איך קוראים לזה? יש לו שאה שהוא מתמלא והוא מתפוצץ. He has a threshold. A limit. He has a limit. If you reach that limit, the tragedy comes. So he says from the past year, with all the sinat chinam that was in Am Yisrael and all the hatred. Remember the whole thing. Remember every Motzei Shabbat what they were doing over there, and hating the religious Jews and spitting on them, kicking them out of the thing. And then the party that was with the Buddha and everything filled up so much. And then Yom Kippur, they didn't allow them to pray, and they were fighting on Yom Kippur, and it filled up so much that the din was boiling. And Hashem had to open up that pot for just a minute, just to let the top layer explode a bit, and then he closed the pot again. They just found Sinwar, Machshemo ben Zichor Haman. They just found his papers. What he was planning to do while hiding this whole, for 1 year, 376 days, he was hiding. What was he planning to do? He was planning to wait out this war so long, and international pressure, and he said it would eventually force Iran to get into a literal wide-scale invasion of Israel. He was planning on that. And whatever happened, the Iranians not only didn't do it, Shalom Aleichem, we're in the middle of a shir, but you're here for Hoshanot? I think everybody here has. Anybody here need Hoshanot? Hadassim? How much is a hadas? $10 for? What kind of hadassim are they? I'll take 2.
It was worth double. For Shabbat usually?
Yeah.
The alcohol smell.
Yeah. Guys, pass this down. Here you go. Just count them.
Okay, so
Yes. So the din is so strong, my Rav said, that and really it was supposed to be something big, guys. The whole place was supposed to be under complete attack. And you know this lady who might be president soon, she's a big Sonei Israel, like a major Sonei Israel. She openly said Israel is doing genocide.
She's Jewish.
No, her husband.
Her husband is Jewish.
She's Indian.
Amalek. There's a lot of deen. No, but what happened, guys? Look how Hashem did it. Not only did he make all the balagan only in the south, we have to study whatever happened on that day forever, guys. Forever we have to study. This is our Shoah of our generation. Not like this. Since the Shoah, nothing like this. Every day we learn something new, yeah. Not only did Hashem do that, listen to this. Right after that, what happened in Am Yisrael? Such ahavat chinam, just the tzedakah alone. Just the tzedakah alone, just the zechut of tzedakah. And people davening, and people learning, and people saying this. All over the world, they all got united and got together. You know what kind of chesed we brought down to the world? The pot didn't need to simmer down anymore. We shut down the whole pot. Because Am Yisrael is like that. We get a little shatet and we wake up. Ashkenazim, Sephardim, Hasidim, Litayim, Chilonim, Hakol. We all got together. We hugged each other. We were together. We loved. Remember that video of that religious guy giving the food to the soldier and him coming? They made that video. They made that into like a painting. And all of Am Yisrael got together, and it was achdut. And the protest stopped. And Chilonim became more religious. You know how many celebrity Chilonim became religious? Do you know how many of them started to keep Shabbat? I don't really follow this stuff, but I heard that a lot of them start to become Shomer Shabbat. A lot of them start to keep Tzniut, Tata Mishpacha, models, singers, major singers. No more we're singing mixed parties anymore. Because this mixed party thing is a big makan, Am Yisrael. You know that, right? It's a big makan. Every time there's a family wedding or something and it's a mixed wedding, I tell my wife, I'm not going to this thing. It's asur, it's avodah zarah. You have to come for the chuppah. Even for the chuppah, I don't want to go. But it's your student's wedding. I'm happy that he's getting married, but I can't go. Then the student gets upset at me. How come I didn't come? I can't tell him, listen, I'm happy you're married, but there was PIG on the table. I can't tell him that. Or GIP, whatever you want to call it. I can't come. There's avodah zarah over there. The Gemara says Rabbi Shimon was once walking with his students, and there were two ways to pass. One was chimichangas, one was a church. They said, let's go to the chimichanga way. That way we could overcome our Yetzer Hara and get two mitzvot.
Don't test it.
Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, go to avodah zarah way. Do yourself a favor. Don't test your Yetzer Hara. En apotropos la'arayot. You could be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. Doesn't matter. En apotropos. You know what apotropos means? Netu garantie. There's no guarantee. You can be the biggest tzaddik. The biggest. Anybody greater than Yosef HaTzaddik? He is called a tzaddik. Noach ish tzaddik. The only person in the Torah that's called a tzaddik is not Yosef, by the way. We call him Yosef HaTzaddik. It doesn't say. Where does it say Yosef HaTzaddik? It doesn't say Yosef HaTzaddik. It says Al Shemochro B'Tzaddik B'Na'alai. It doesn't say Yosef. Yosef. I want to hear the words Yosef. Abraham, don't mess with me. 78, bro. You know who he calls it tzaddik?
No.
Noach. Ish tzaddik. How old? Now, which sphira is the Yesod? The sixth. The sixth. How old was Noach when the flood happened? 600 years old on the dot. What do you think of the Zef Kisah, the Torah? Everything makes sense. Everything shtims, guys. Everything shtims. Everything is b'cheshbonot tovot. 600. How come I told you guys this once, how come the I don't want to say Yoshka, his number is 666? Why 666? Exactly. Yosef, Mashiach ben Yosef. Who's going to destroy Esav? 666, Mashiach ben Yosef. 777 is the good luck. Malchut. It says, Shuvi Shuvi Ashulamit. Shuvi Shuvi v'nechazeh. What do we say in Shir HaShirim? The 6th chapter. Seventh chapter. Shuvi Shuvi Ashulamit. Come back, Shulamit. What is the pasuk talking about? Shulamit is the Shekhinah. And who's saying Shuvi Shuvi, come back? The Umot HaOlam. When they're going to see the Geulah is coming and all of Am Yisrael is going back to their ancestral home, they're going to say, no! Shuvi Shuvi Ashulamit. We want you, number 7. The Goyim are so obsessed with King David. The Goyim are obsessed with King David that even though it contradicts them, it contradicts that Yoshka was a son of God and the son of King David at the same time, they're still going to say it. They need to find a source between Oto Ha'ish and David HaMelech. But how? He's a son of God. Unless you're saying God is David HaMelech. I don't know. You decide, Abraham. Explain to me over here. Either he's the son of God or he's the son of David HaMelech. Which one is he? Oh, he's both. In this reality, he's a second guy. In this reality, David HaMelech. They don't know what they're saying themselves. Rav Ades says something beautiful. Rav Ades says 2 billion people follow this religion in the world. 2 billion, guys. Not million. Billion. 2 billion people. You know what he says? And Hashem made it on purpose that the religion started with adultery to show you that 2 billion people could be so blinded by just pure fact that she got pregnant from the neighbor and she had Yoshka. It's the biggest letzanut. And her name was Miriam. Maria. Santa Maria. You can't come up with these stuff. And the other one, Vapshe, was a Mishuga. The other one is called a Mishuga. When the Rambam calls him Otom Mishuga. Why? Suddenly he comes up one day, he had a little bit too much Ispandut, let's call it, and suddenly he became a Navi. He smelled some Ispandut, and he thought he became a Navi over there. Instead of using portobello mushrooms, he used the other mushrooms, and he thought he was a Navi. So, tell me one. Okay, you're a Navi. Give me one prophecy. One. No. Ask them. Go across the street, ask them. Give us one prophecy your Navi made. Zero. They say it to themselves.
Just get married, one wives.
They only believe in Znut, that's it. Znut, v'arayot, vegezel. Vegezel. You know what gezel is? Do you know what's their biggest ideal in life, these Mishugayim? To conquer more land. More land and more land and more land and more land and more land. They don't care about... They want world domination. Like a virus. That latches onto the host and just keeps on reproducing. But you know what's interesting? The Gemara says, what zechut do they have? That they're going to be the last ones to rule over Har HaBayit before Mashiach. Brit Milah.
But it's already passed. 13 years.
It's passing.
No, Ishmael was 13 years.
Yeah.
Already 1,300 years of it's passed.
It's passing. I know it's passing, but it's still there, no?
It's going down.
It's going down, Bezrat Hashem, but technically speaking, it's still there. How long? When did they make that mosque over there? It hasn't been 1,300 years.
No, I say 1,300 years is
Since Muhammad.
Mahmoud.
I think it's a bit less than 1,300 years.
Mosque?
The mosque for sure less than 1,300 years. For sure. I think the mosque was made 600 BCE. 600 BCE. Something like that. You could check it up right now. When was it made? The Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's for sure not 1,300.
No.
Islam is maybe 1,300 years old.
Islam.
Islam is maybe 1,300 years old. Not the...
I told you about Islam, not Islam.
No, but we're talking about the rulership over the Har HaBayit.
Didn't you say
The rulership over Har HaBayit, huh?
Didn't you say that the Jews built that mosque or something?
The Jews built a Beit Knesset over there. Beit Knesset they built over there. But then the Omar...
1400.
In the 1400s they built it?
No, I don't know what the building.
It's 1,400 years old?
Islam started.
Oh, Islam is 1,400 years old. 1,400 years
So
old.
it was past
But since the birth of Islam, it's been 1,400 years. But the mosque, how long has that shikutz been on top of the Beit HaMikdash?
Didn't who built it?
Ataman, I think. Ataman.
The Ottomans.
Yes, about 1,000 years, 1,000, 1,100 years.
What's interesting that the Ottomans, they're not even Arabs. They're not Arabs. They're Turks. They're Uzbekim.
What's the difference?
They're the same. They're cousins.
The same one.
If you hear the Uzbek language, then you hear the Turkish language. It's very similar
Yeah.
because they're cousins. They're all from the same shoresh over there.
We're also cousins.
So,
Nah, we're cousins. They came from the Shifha, from Hagar. We came from Sarai Imena. Something else completely. Avraham Avinu had to have Yishmael. If Yishmael wasn't born, then Yitzchak wouldn't have come out. Yishmael took all the klipa from Avraham Avinu, all the Zohama. But back to what we were saying before, huh?
685.
685 BC.
AD.
AD. Yeah, AD is BCE. The same thing, yeah. 685. Yeah, so it's only been what? 1,004. Oh. Do 2024 minus 685.
1339.
1339. 1,339 years.
This is no mosque. This is Islam, right?
No.
The dome
No.
in Jerusalem.
No, it's good.
And 685 AD. BCE. No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
It was
Hmm?
made as a shrine for pilgrims.
It was made as a shrine. I'm telling you, it was originally built as a not as a mosque.
Mashhad.
Okay. But who was the first person that called it Tzaddik? Abraham. Not Yosef. It was Noah. Noah is Tzaddik. Rabbi said. What zechut? What happened to Noah at the end? What did he lose? He drank too much absolute vodka. He mixed the absolute with cognac.
Wine.
Yeah. Basically, they cut a hole in the watermelon. They put the cognac inside. You ever seen them do that? And the whole watermelon became cognac. You can't tell. It goes inside. It gets saturated inside. He ate it. Became shikor. By the way, how do you say shikor? How do you spell shikor in Hebrew? Abraham. Shin.
She, Kor,
Kuf.
Incorrect.
Yud,
Shin,
Kaf.
Kaf. What's the last letter?
right?
Reish. Shikor. Shin chaf reish.
Sheker.
Sarah, like Sarah.
Sheker.
No. Sheker is the kuf, Rebbe.
Sachar.
Shikor. Now take the chaf in the middle and put it in the top of the word. Make chaf shin reish. What are you gonna get? Kasher. The opposite of kasher.
Abdul Kasher.
The opposite of kasher is shikor. And who was the guy who built the second temple? What was his name? Koresh. Chaf, Reishin. You get it? It's all the same thing. Koresh, shikor, and kasher. And how do you say being rich in Hebrew?
Ashir.
Rechush. Wealth, actual physical, is called rechush. Same letters. Reish, chaf, shin. If you're not going to be a shikor, waste your money on shichrut, you're going to have a lot of rechush. And then you're going to be kasher. But if you choose the other way, you're going to be a shikor. You're going to be like Koresh. And you're going to have no rechush. Right? In Hebrew, it's very interesting. One word, 3 letters. You could rearrange all the letters to come up with different words. Because Hebrew words, the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, have a shorish in Kedusha. So by rearranging the letters, I could find how things connect to each other. What happened to Noach at the end? He got shikor. And what happened to his brit? He lost it. He lost it. And then he lived for how many more years? 450 years. 950 Noach died. 950 years old. But do we hear about him after that story? 0. How is the grandfather of the world? Nobody come to learn from him. Nobody come to respect him. He's lost in the history of the world. Noach. Even in Midrashim, he doesn't exist.
Isn't it better for his sake?
It's a lesson for us, guys. When you lose your purpose in life, it's like you don't exist anymore. That's why people who get old and they say, I'm going to retire, I'm going to stop, I'm just going to go in all day, kaifavat. What happens to them at the end? They wither away and become chalpak. They become blintzes. They become, a person shouldn't be stupid. Who says this? Mishlei, Shlomo HaMelech. Shalom says, don't be stupid. Don't think you're going to work your whole life and then you're going to retire when you get old and start being a Talmid Chacham. No such kind of thing. Lo haya, lo hove. If you live till 120 and you remember Hashem when you're 40, like Rabbi Akiva, it's a different story. From 40 till 120, you still have 60 years. Correct? And that was also Siyata Deshmaya Rabbi Akiva had. That was his destiny. But a person lives till 70, 80 years old. And you remember Hashem only when you're 55. Oh, suddenly at the age of 55 you're going to be a Talmid Chacham? Come on. So King Solomon says, Zechor boracha bimei becharotecha. Remember God when you're young. Gam ki yaskin lo yasur mimeka. When you get old, it won't leave you. The only things you remember is when you learned young. Not when you learned when you're old. When you're old already, the information doesn't retain in the head. When you're younger, you young guys, you could put a lot of effort inside your Torah. You're going to retain all that information. There was this one guy, Rav Zilberstein says the story, he was a Holocaust survivor. Lost his wife, kids, I forgot his name. He lived in Bnei Brak. When he got old, he used to memorize Mishnayot in the concentration camps. Mishnayot. When he got older, he had dementia. One time they saw him, one of his grandkids, hiding under the bed. Old man, 70, 80 years old. So what are you doing over there? He said, I'm looking for Tavi, the servant of Rabban Gamliel. That's what he said. The Mishnah in Sukkah says that Tavi, the servant of Rabban Gamliel, used to sleep under the bed in the Sukkah. He knew the Mishnayot so well that even in his dementia, he was playing out the Mishnayot. That's called the Torah that I learned when I was younger got retained so much in my brain that even in the dementia I didn't leave him. That's what happens. Those people that were Talmidei Chachamim and then their kids, Chas Shalom, leave them in the old age home, Chas Shalom. And they stay in the old age houses. What do they do over there? They don't need their families. Those Talmidei Chachamim. What do they have? Gemara. They stay, learn. They're in Machai. They're in Gan Eden. For them, they're already in Gan Eden. By the way, real Talmidei Chachamim. Shalom Aleichem. Real Talmidei Chachamim, they don't need to die to go to Gan Eden. They don't need Olam Haba. Real Talmidei Chachamim, I promise you. The Or HaChaim says the greatest, sweetest thing in the world, it can make you a mishuga, is Limud Torah. You give them a sefer to learn Torah. Quiet room. A cup of coffee. And a chaynik, of course, for refills. He could be in Gan Eden while he's alive. That's his Gan Eden. And I always say this to people and they don't believe me. Gehenom, it says what it looks like. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What about Gan Eden? What's Gan Eden look like? You want to know how Gan Eden looks like? You're looking at it. This is Gan Eden. In Gan Eden, we don't sleep.
Torah.
Limud Torah. That's what they do in Gan Eden. They learn Torah b'simchat Torah. Somebody told me, how you fulfill the mitzvah v'samachta b'chagecha. I don't feel any simcha. Every day my wife drags me to a different amusement park. Dorney Park, Adventureland, the zoo. His Rabbi, I hate the chagim. He tells me, true story. He said, I hate the chagim. He says, I hate going to these places. I wait online like a dafuk for 30 minutes. Just to go on a ride for 30 seconds. If you ask me, an amusement park is a person's life. He spends his whole life just for 5 minutes of pleasure. He could spend 30 years waiting to get something, only to get it and be like, this was it. People go to amusement parks, wait 20 minutes online, gets on the ride for 30 seconds, it's finished. He's like, this is what I was waiting for in the heat. Hungry, kids yelling, screaming. But yet the whole world is there. The amusement parks are packed. That's our life. So Rabbi, I hate this. I hate it. I don't want to go to amusement parks. I don't want to go to the zoo. I don't want to go hiking. So what do you want to do then? He says, I just want to learn Torah. I want to be in the Sukkah and learn Torah, he tells me. I said, you know why you're not learning Torah in the Sukkah? If Hashem wanted you to learn Torah in the Sukkah, He would have given it to you. But when He used to give you the chance, what do you used to do? You used to throw it away. Now that you don't have it, now you want it. Now it's too late. Now you're going to learn Torah bize'at apecha. You know what bize'at apecha means? Through sweat, you're going to learn Torah now. Now you will learn Torah, but you know what? Waiting online to go to the right, you're going to learn Torah. You want to prove Hashem you're ready to learn Torah? When you're waiting online in Adventureland, take a Tehillim with you, a Mishnah, and start waiting online and learning. Now I want to see you learn. You messed up when you were younger. Now you're going to prove that you could do it. He tells me, how am I going to do that? I need to have my nice sukkah. I need to sit. I do that. He said, you want. It's not about what you want. It's about what He wants. It's what the Eibishter wants. Not what you want. You want a lot of stuff. But this world is not for us. It's for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rebbe. He's in Gan Eden already. We're in Gan Eden. He's dreaming of Gan Eden. Don't forget Kriyat Shema Lamida. So let's go back to Boker Tov. Now we're back to Rav Anan. What happened to Rav Anan? Did he take the Bikurim or no? He took the Bikurim. Look what happens to him. He took the Bikurim. Did he do an Avera? Rav Anan, no. We said he did good. He was Mekayim the Pasuk of the Bikurim. Ken or lo? Kaneshna. Now he can't deal with his case now because he took like a bribe, right? He can't be his Dayan. Shadre lekamed Rav Nachman. Not Rav Nachman in Breslev. Please, every time I give the shiur and I mention Rav Nachman, everybody says Rav Nachman. No, it's not Rav Nachman in Breslev. Maybe it was his Nitzos Neshama, I don't know. But he sent him to Rav Nachman the Amoira, the Rebbe of, the student of Shmuel and the Rebbe of Raba. He said to him, Nadyeneh mar lai gavra, you be his judge. Da'ana anan, because me anan, pasilna le ledina, I'm pasul to be this man's judge. Because he took the fish from him. Amar, he said, Mideshalach li achi, why did he send me that he's pasul? He didn't explain to me why. Shma mina keriveu, it means that he must be his relative. Because also if you're his relative, you're a pasul. He didn't think that he took something from him. He thought it was his relative. Hava kaim dina diat mikame. That day on the itinerary, on the schedule, was a case of orphans. Amar hay aseh v'hay aseh. I have two mitzvah asehs over here. One mitzvah aseh to judge the case of the orphans. But I have another mitzvah aseh to respect Talmidei Chachamim. And if he's Rav Anan's relative, which mitzvah is more important, guys? To respect the orphans or to respect the Talmidei Chachamim? Orphans. He tells it clearly. Says Rav Nachman, Aseh dikvot haTorah adif. I'm shocked. I just got goosebumps right here. I got goosebumps. The aseh of respecting the Torah is more higher than helping you to mim. From here we learn, if you have tzedakah to give, the highest level of giving tzedakah is to Talmidei Chachamim. It's pashut. It's a mefurash b'Gemara. Aseh dikvot haTorah adif. Salikna ledin di'ami. He put the Yetumim's din second, and he achtel ledin, and he brought his case first. Now the guy who gave the fish, the guy who's accusing him, the other guy. What do you call the other guy? There's a word for him.
Defendant.
The defendant. He sees that Rav Nachman switched the case and put his case first because of him. And he started to get scared. He got so scared, Istatam ta'anateh. He didn't even know what to say in the court case. And the guy who gave the fish, who Rav Nachman thinks is the cousin of Rav Anan, came out naki. You get what happened over here? Rav Anan didn't tell Rav Nachman that he's pasul because he took the bikurim from him. He thought he was his relative. So when he saw him, he said, I have to respect the Torah. And he made his court case first that day. The guy who was the defendant or the whoever he was over there saw that that Rav Nachman respected him. He didn't know what to say when he was on the stand, and the guy came out the winner of the court. You guys still didn't get it.
Tzaddik came out winner or the other guy?
We don't know who was the tzaddik, who was the rasha. We know that because of Rav Anan,
The Talmid Chacham came out the winner?
he wasn't a Talmid Chacham really. Rav Nachman thought that he was the relative of Rav Anan.
Oh.
Because he's the relative of a Talmid Chacham, he put his court case first.
But now he became quiet.
And the other guy became quiet. He didn't know. He said, whoa, he's respecting him so much. That means he's probably going to take his side. And that guy came out naki. You guys get what happened? Yeah. So it comes out that because of Rav Anan, it could be that this guy was really guilty. But he came out innocent.
But it's not.
It wasn't on purpose. Rav Anan didn't do it on purpose. Did Rav Anan do that on purpose? Says the Gemara. The swords are coming out now. The swords. Something big is about to happen. We're about to learn Torah. Rav Anan hava ragil Eliyahu Hanavi da'ate gabe. Rav Anan was such a special tzaddik. Eliyahu Hanavi used to visit him regularly. Regularly. You also just saw Eliyahu Hanavi. But not regularly. Regularly. He would teach him the special book, Tana Debe Eliyahu. Who wrote that book? Rav Anan. I'm shocked at this Gemara. I'm shocked. Rav Anan wrote it. Kevan da Avid Hachi istalak. After this story, where he mistakenly caused the guy to win a court case, Eliyahu Navi said, I'm not coming to this guy anymore.
Not right.
It wasn't Rabbi, it wasn't his fault. He just said, I'm pasul. He just said, I'm pasul because I took from him fish. I took from him bikurim. He shouldn't have said, I'm pasul because of he's my relative. It wasn't his relative. But Rav Nachman thought like that. Could you imagine what Eliyahu Hanavi could... And we over here thinking, we're sitting in a yeshiva. We were in a yeshiva here a couple of days ago. He saw Eliyahu Hanavi. I saw Eliyahu Hanavi. I'm going to smack this book on your head. He saw Eliyahu Hanavi. Get out of here. Just because you're old and have a white beard doesn't mean you automatically see Eliyahu Hanavi. Alright? All due respect to the deceased, of course. And I have a lot of respect. But don't put yourself in Rav Anan's level over here. Okay? Do me a favor. I don't care if you finish 1,000,000 times daily. You have to be holding to see Eliyahu Hanavi. He said, oh, Michael or Gabriel. We got a lot of those guys. Especially in the Bukhari shul. Every other guy is Michael or Gabriel. Once in a while we have some Raphaels over here too. But mostly Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. That's the most dominant name in the Bukhari community. They think they're angels over here. They are angels. They just didn't figure it out how to be angels yet. Karochi, he did this. Istalak. Eliyahu Navi didn't come to visit him anymore. Gabriel. Hi. Did you get how come he didn't visit him anymore? You didn't even get it. You got it. You just don't remember. Otiv beta'anita. What did he do to get back Eliyahu Navi, guys?
Fasting.
He sat in a ta'anit for an averah that he didn't even do. He did it inadvertently. But now he didn't just sit in a ta'anit and said, okay, I'm sitting in a ta'anit. That's it. All my averot went away. Otiv beta'anita Uba'a rachameh. And what was he doing during the whole ta'anit? Hoshana. Hoshana. He was davening. He didn't say, I'm sitting in a ta'anit, I'm a tzaddik yesod olam now. Some people, that's what they think, because they're in the ta'anit, they think they're Eliyahu Hanavi. If you were Eliyahu Hanavi, you wouldn't sit in the ta'anit in the first place. What happened? He came back. He came back, Eliyahu. He did it. Ki ata hava mi'abute ha-miva'et le ba'ute. But this time, when he came back, he didn't come back as a person, Eliyahu. He showed his angelic form.
That's angelic.
Like a malach. Before he would come as a person, he could learn with him freely, like Ari Kadosh. This time he came like a malach. And Rav Anan was frightened. Ve'aved tevuta, so Rav Anan made a box. V'yetev kamen, he would sit in the box ad apik lesidr, until Eliyahu would finish his shiur and leave. And that's why the book Tana Debe Eliyahu has two parts to it. Tana Debe Eliyahu Raba, that's the first part, it's the bigger part. That's when he used to learn with Eliyahu Hanavi before he came as an angel. And the second book is when he was so afraid to learn, to see him, he had to sit in a box. That's called Seder Eliyahu Rabba Zuta, the smaller Tana Debe Eliyahu. And all of this for what? By mistake. He didn't mention that he was pasul to him to be a dayan because he took the bikurim from him.
Do we still have a chance?
Only Eliyahu Hanavi knows. I just want to let you guys know, why am I saying all of this, guys? Kedusha, Yirat Shamayim, this is what's supposed to be our... אנחנו צריכים לשאוף לזה, איך אומרים? לשאוף. Strive, you have to want it. We shouldn't want the next time we're going to the beach. That's also something nice. Some people live by the beach. They're so disgusted by the beach already. Yeah, they get flooded too. We have to strive for Kedusha, guys. This year we have to take upon ourselves, you know what mitzvah? To change our psyche. To change our psyche. We need to do more to serve Hashem. We need to learn Torah more. We need to take upon ourselves more mitzvot. I want to read you something somebody sent me. I want to read you something. Where did he send me this? Yeah, right here. It's in Russian. Okay, let's find the English one. Why would he send it to me in Russian? I don't know. Oh, here it is. The Chafetz Chaim writes. Why are you going like this to me? That talking during the reading of the Sefer Torah, even between aliyot, carries a high risk of transgressing the prohibition of Chilul Hashem, desecrating God's name in public. Chafetz Chaim in Biur Halacha Siman Kuf Membav. And the Rambam writes that if one desecrates God's name, even though they repented, Yom Kippur will pass, and they will not complete their atonement until their day of, I don't want to say. Just this mitzvah is enough to make us want to change. You can't speak during Torah. You can't speak between aliyot. Not because Hashem doesn't want you to speak. You have to put inside your psyche, I'm sitting in front of Hashem right now. Like this has to be your head. That's the kind of thoughts that's supposed to go on in your head during the Kriyat Sefer Torah. I'm sitting right now. Right now, by the way, we're sitting in front of Hashem. The Ari Kadosh wouldn't even speak Divrei Torah in the Beit HaKnesset. How about when we speak Diburei Chol b'Shabbat? Rachmana litzlan. Rachmana l'shezavan. Speaking divrei chol b'Shabbat is like speaking during a zivug. Chas v'shalom. Speaking divrei chol b'Shabbat, stock markets, shmak markets, real estate. And chas v'shalom to speak divrei nevela on Shabbat. You can't even read a newspaper on Shabbat, halacha says. A newspaper, drushba. You can't read on Shabbat. Bukharian Times. זה עבודה זרה, צריכים לשרוף את זה. No offense to the editors. Asur. Rabbi, we have nothing to live for then. This is what you live for? Speaking shtiyot on Shabbat, for real? We gotta change the way we look at the life then. Right now, as we're speaking, the ptakim are coming out. You hear what I'm telling you? The ptakim, you know what the ptakim is? The Gzar Dins. I'm afraid, I don't know about you. Last year we had the Gzar Din came out, next day 1,200 Jews died. Just today I was coming to Shul, I got a message. One Jew on his way to the Beit Knesset was hit by a car, died, 35 years old. He didn't get his Ptakim. His Gzar Din was already stamped on Yom Kippur. Unfortunate. And don't think just because you give tzedakah, you're already free from everything. Who gives more tzedakah than Lev Levayev? I want to know. His grandson was killed a week ago. Right before Sukkot, he was killed. Got hit by a car in Yehud. Just finished medical school. And he was on a scooter, on those electric, I call them death bikes. And a car hit him in Yehud. Died on the spot. Grandfather is one of the biggest philanthropists in the Jewish community. Bukharian Jewish community, at least. Yoel ben Shalom Levayev. A Levi. Person says, I give tzedakah, I'm good. It's true. Tzedakah is the biggest mitzvah. Tzedakah tosif chaim. But how do you know how much you have to give? I give enough. You don't know that. You have to be afraid. Not afraid in a bad way. You know what Yirat HaRomemut is? You ever been in awe of a person in your life? But really in awe. You ever meet a person you were shocked by meeting him? You ever had that experience in your life? The Torah, the Reshit Chokhmah says, loving God is higher than fearing God, and fearing God is higher than loving God. You just said loving God is greater than fearing God. Now you're telling me fearing Him is higher than loving Him? So the Yeshua says no. It's talking about Yirat HaRomemut, fear of awe. Not fear like you're going to be killed by Him. Fear of awe. You know, you guys never been in awe of a person? You ever meet a very big rabbi and you were afraid to come next to him? Ever? I had that once. I had a couple of times, but the biggest time was when I met Rav Chaim Kanievsky for the first time. The first time, Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Zecher Tzadik Kadosh Livracha. He passed away on Shushan Purim, remember him? Yeah. 2 years ago, we already forgot him. We forgot him already? Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Tzadik Yesod Olam. When I first met him, before I was married, I remembered he was just walking into the room, I kid you not. No exaggeration. Everybody in that room, me, my dad, the guy sitting next to us, the guy sitting next to us, son, all of us, our legs were shaking. And then I knew what the Zohar said is true. The Zohar said before Idra Raba happened, before Idra Raba, the Zohar Kadosh, the Arkuvan da leda nakshan, our knees were buckling under us. I said, come on, the Zohar is just saying that. Whose knees buckle in the middle of learning Torah? But when I met Rav Chaim Kanievsky the first time, I understood such a thing could really happen. It was literally shaking. Ask Misha Amino, Michael Amino. Ask him. We were there together. That's called Yirat HaRomemut, fear of awe. That's how you have to feel when you come to a Beit Knesset, says the Ari HaKadosh. Now we know Eliyahu HaNavi. Now we know how far we are. Beit HaKnesset? Cafe! Including me, listen, I'm guilty. But coffee and shul hits different than home. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of that. It's the Yetzer Hara. He's making it sweeter. He's making it tastier.
Kedusha, more Kedusha.
It's more Kedusha, but I'm not. We have to be Yirat HaRomimut.
I made it.
Because you made it, of course. And you're also born on Shushan Purim. No, your brit was on Shushan Purim, I'm sorry. And we just mentioned Shushan Purim. See how everything connects? It's like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm telling you. But that's how we have to feel Yirat HaRomimut. Have we ever felt Yirat HaRomimut for Hashem? We could. You know when we feel it? You just don't remember it. Rosh Hashanah is one place, but more on Yom Kippur. If you have a good chazan, imagine you put a feather. Like, if you have a good chazan, and he knows how to take out the emotion, he could wake you inside of you the Yirat HaRomimut. A good chazan knows how to do it. That's true, but I mostly seen it at Yom Kippur. I don't really see it in Rosh Hashanah. I've seen it. I've seen people, their heart melts on Yom Kippurim. I've seen it. And it happens without alcohol, without, what do you call that thing again? Alef Yosh? Without Ispandut. Without any of that stuff. It melts. Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to do all these things. You're not allowed to do these things anyways. Ketoret. You know what they put in Ketoret? Kinamon. You know what kinamon is? Cinnamon. Cinnamon, for the love of God. That was in the Ketoret. Alefiyos. They put cinnamon in the Ketoret. They didn't have this stuff, I'm telling you. Torah is very against alcohol. You should know that. Very against.
Why is it don't?
The Lubavitcher Rebbe he made a takana in Chabad. It didn't last, obviously. The Chabadskers, when they drink, these guys. I remember when Rubashkin came out of jail. Remember that day, guys?
Yeah.
We forgot about that already.
Yeah.
These guys, you know those beer things where they just like spray it. They were walking around with Smirnoffs like that. Now I don't know if you guys ever drink Smirnoff. That's like the worst drink in the world. But the Rebbe drank it. So they were wearing Smirnoff beer backpacks, and they were just pouring Smirnoff to people. And like these guys were like hardcore. Like these guys drink. You know, the rabbi used to go for slichot, Elul slichot, to the Ohel, the Shabbos before. And all the Chabadskers go there it's a madhouse over there. We used to sleep over there every day.
From Moscow people.
You were there too, right? Do you remember how much they used to drink over there? Kiddush! Cups of whiskey! Down! I'm looking at this, I'm like, I've seen people who drink, but this is not human. And the Rebbe was so against it, the Rebbe Lubavitch was so against it, he made a takana, I think before the age of 40, you're only allowed to have 3 shots.
Oops.
In your life?
No, every time you're in a Fabrengen or something, you got 3 shots is your top till 40.
Shots of what?
Vodka, Smirnoff. But they drink Smirnoff because it's the number there is 770 or something like that. No, that's not a shot. That's a drink already. That's 3 shots means shots. Shots is kadurim ktanim, right? You think they kept the takana? Kakoi takana when it comes to the ishkam, and takanot.
Just a side question. You mentioned ketoret. Is there such a thing as women who separate challah? They take that challah and then they do it around the house, burn it. Like
Every day you learn something new.
No, someone.
Baruch she'asanu Yehudim. Where is this new minhag come from?
Some lady told me.
I don't think you're allowed to do it halachically because you're not allowed to enjoy from it. It's supposed to be for the challah. That means when you do hafrashat challah, that's really supposed to go to the kohen. That's why we throw it away.
Yeah.
And by burning it, you're getting hana from it.
Again, there was a challah party and some lady that did it. She said, "I was sort of."
I think halachically it's an issue. It's not just an issue. It's a halachic issue to do that.
My mom, she burns it. It's not, you can enjoy it. It's horrible. It smells like.
No, but she's enjoying the fact that she thinks it's neged ayin hara or whatever she's doing it for.
Yes, they go around the house.
Yeah,
You didn't hear such a thing.
I never heard of such a thing. I personally am a very big realist. You understand? If it wasn't for me being Sephardi, I would probably be like a hardcore Rambam guy. You know? But I don't think there is something to this. Okay. The Gemara continues. So Yirat HaRomemut, guys. We have to work on our Yirat HaRomemut. True Torah can only be learned through Yirat HaRomemut, Rabbi say. True Torah. Don't look at all those Talmidei Chachamim. They can tell you Shas, Poskim, and stuff like that. If they have no Yirat HaRomemut, they're an empty kli to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. An empty kli. When you bless somebody to be a Talmid Chacham, you have to say, may you be a Tzaddik v'Talmid Chacham. A Tzaddik. Don't say just Talmid Chacham. Unfortunately, there's many Talmidei Chachamim she'ein tocham kivaram. Their insides are not like what they're showing on the outside. How can a person be a Talmid Chacham and have an anger issue? How can a person be a Talmid Chacham and have a jealousy issue? How can a person be a Talmid Chacham and have a laziness issue? How these things are possible? When you learn Torah as a subject and not as godliness, then it doesn't change you. But if before you learn Torah you go to the mikveh, not that you have to, but if you do, if before you learn Torah you say Vidur, Ana Hashem, Hadadi Avid Bashari. If before you learn Torah you say, I'm learning this Torah not for myself, but La'akama Shchinta Me Afara. Then the Torah doesn't just go inside of you, it changes you. It changes you. I want to read you one more. Gemara over here. How long we're going over here for?
Almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours.
Baruch Hashem.
A personal best. No, I think I had more than 2 hours before. The Gemara says, Bishnei de Rav Yosef. In the year that Rav Yosef was alive, that's one of the big rabbis in the Gemara. Rosh Yeshiva he was. Havaritcha. There was anger in the world. There was divine anger. Amru le Rabbanan le Rav Yosef. The rabbinic students requested of Rav Yosef, Libi'ei marachame. You're a Rosh Yeshiva. You're a tzaddik. Pray for mercy. He answered, consider Elisha Hanavi. Elisha Hanavi. When his self-supporting students departed, 2,200 dependent students would remain. Yet when there would be famine due to divine anger, he did not beseech Hashem for mercy. Why shall I do more? That means Elisha Hanavi lived in the time of famine. There was no food. Elisha Hanavi was great, no? Inside Elisha's name is Shin Ayin. Shin Ayin Nehorim. 370 lights. The panim of the Arich Hanpi. It says when Elisha Hanavi would finish his shiur, 200 students would stay behind. You know what those 200 students were for? He would on Zaplatzil for their karmanya. He would pay for their food. And yet, even though they were dependent on him, he did not pray Hashem for mercy to bring down rain. Do you hear what I'm telling you guys? So Rav Yosef is saying, if he didn't pray, why should I? Does it make sense what he's saying? If he didn't pray, why should I?
Why if he didn't pray?
Elisha didn't pray even though the people needed him. I think everybody has. Anybody here need Hoshanos?
Yeah.
You have a customer over here. Oh, I left you one. I left you one, yeah. No, you get, yeah. The Gemara says, I'm sorry, not 200 students would remain. 2,200 students would remain. That means the students that needed his support were just 22,000. 22,000.
2,200.
2,200.
2,200. 2,200. We're just 2,200 students. Whoa, that's a yeshiva.
That's only the people who depend on
We're dependent on him.
How many more people?
Wow, I just got chills again. I'm telling you, I just got chills again. Elisha Hanavi had a major yeshiva. That's crazy.
10 yeshivas combined.
That's
20 yeshivas combined.
only the Mir yeshiva I think is greater than his yeshiva. I saw the Mir's Simchas Beis HaShoeva. I wanted to go inside my phone and join them. Some crazy stuff over there. I liked it. Yeah, some dancing. And B'Simcha. So what did it say? From where do we know that Elisha Hanavi had 2,200 dependent students? That means Elisha Hanavi had to be pretty rich to feed all those students. Because before, when Elisha received Bikurim, that same Bikurim, how many breads were there? It was 20 pieces of bread and a couple of fresh kernels. The guy gave him Bikurim. Now, how many students did he have? 2,200 to feed. What are you going to feed 2,200 students? 20 loaves of bread.
The same situation like this oil, you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. But this is a bigger miracle. Because by the oil, she covered the can. She covered it. Yitzav Hashem et habracha be'asamecha. Over here, everybody saw how much bikurim he brought. And he had 2,200 students. When Elisha's servant said to him, Elisha told him, feed the people the food. He's like, who am I going to feed this to? Even for 100 people, I don't have room. So there were 22 portions because he brought him 22 pieces of bread. And he said, for 100 people, 22 times 100 is how much? 2,200. The Gemara states, when the self-supporting rabbinic students departed from the academy of Rav, 1,200 students would remain. So Rav also had a big yeshiva. Rav. 1,200 students used to stay behind Rav's yeshiva. Those were the dependent students, not the independent students.
Maybe he had more students.
Of course, that's just
He
the...
had more students than him.
Who, than Rabbi Yosef? Than Elisha?
Maybe Rav had more students, just he had less students dependent.
That's true. When the self-supporting rabbinic students departed from the academy of Rav Huna, how many students would remain? 800 students. Rav Huna was a student of Rav. So you see the generations are going lower. These days we're looking for a minyan. I'm just kidding. Rav Huna, when he would lecture, he had 13 spokesmen. That means he would say something, but 800 just the students who stayed behind. That means how many students he had more in there? Let's say 8,000 students. Right? So he needed 13 spokesmen to yell out his shir. When the rabbinic students of the academy of Rav Huna arose from the lecture, and they shook out their garments because they would sit on a dust floor, a cloud of dust would rise up, and the people of Eretz Yisrael would say, the rabbis of Rav Huna's yeshiva just left the shir. You guys hear what I'm telling you over here? You're not connecting. You guys are not connecting. The Gemara says Elisha Hanavi had 2,200 students that depended on him. How do we know? Because he brought him 22 pieces of the bread, and he said, how can I give it in front of 100 people? That means 100 people was for one portion. There's 22 portions. 100 times 22 is how much? 2,200. That means those were the students that were left behind. That was Elisha's time. Rav had how many students that depended on him? 1,200. Rav Huna had how many students that depended on him? 800. And Rav Huna, who was the smallest of all these yeshivot, when the rabbis used to get up and leave the shiur, when they used to raise their clothes like this, a cloud of dust would rise up so high that the people in Eretz Yisrael would see it and say, Rav Huna just finished his shiur. Psak halacha. Rav Huna right now is watching us from Shamayim. He's giving us all checks. by the way. We're all getting checks right now.
How many people was that?
800 were just the students that depended on him. Imagine how many students were independent from him.
Those are 13.
And he had 13 spokesmen. Rav Huna.
Does it have anything to do with the tribes?
13 tribes? There's only 12 tribes.
Yeah, but
Maybe it has something to do with the 13 attributes of mercy. Ah. We'll get there one day. We don't have to know the pshat of everything right away. You have to let it simmer, you have to let it cook. The best meats are low flame, slow cooked, steady. Steady wins the race. When the self-supporting students of departed from the academy of Rava and Rav Yosef, there will be 400 students that remained. Eli, your kippah. There would be 400 students that remained. Rava and Rav Yosef were less than Rav Huna. When the self-supporting students departed from the academy of Abaye, or as some say from the academy of Rav Papa, yeah, we're in the middle of a shir right now. You want to sleep? Put your head down. Laila tov. When the self-supporting students left the academy of Abaye, how many students would stay behind? 200 students. And Abaye, Rav Papa, and Raba would call them, their generation, a generation of orphans, the son of orphans. Why is that? They were so away from the greatness of Rav Huna's generation, they considered themselves orphans. And Rav Huna was so away from Rav's generation, he considered himself an orphan. And he was so away from the generation of Elisha Hanavi that he called himself an orphan. Okay, let me take you home, Eli. I'll pause the shiur.